What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well today. Another week, another PDSX breakdown. This one is round 12 and it was on Daytona. Daytona's probably one of them tracks that out of the, what was it, like 17 or so rounds that I've got the least amount of practice on. So I was a little bit nervous going into it, but I think I qualified about third or so. Just behind, I believe it was Chicken and McManus, so that filled me with a bit of confidence. As you see here, we've got another hole shot. I've been so good for getting hole shots recently, which has really helped the races overall. I think behind me off the start this time it was EvanHorton and I want to say Owen Pittman, I believe, just off the bat, and straight away I'm like, oh god, EvanHorton's behind me again. This man never crashes, so I knew I had my work out for me from the very beginning. So how I was really approaching this from the start was exactly the same as last week. You know, got out, got a good start. You just need to try and be as mistake-free in these first few laps as possible. The line in this rhythm section was triple, I think it was. I can't remember how many jumps there is. But I cased the second one in, so I thought I'll be smart here. I'll check up and double my way out rather than just trying to triple again and crashing, which you just don't want on the start of the race. Especially if, let's say, worst case scenario, you get stuck in a bow or something like that, you need to hard reset and the game because it doesn't let you because there's people out on the track. So a smart thing to do there was just to check up, double my way through, and I get through lap 1 in the lead still. EvanHorton is gaining on me a little bit here. Actually, 2 seconds. God, professional YouTuber, clearing my throat. So EvanHorton is like right on me here. I think he feels pretty confident on this track. The person in third is your points leader Hemi, who feels very confident on this track. I know Hemi really enjoys this one. Same with Chicken, McManus and Marco actually, but McManus didn't make it through to the main, had some bad luck in his heat and his LCQ. And I got quite lucky. Chicken actually pressed his record button for the race just as the gate had dropped, so he literally had like a second or two delay behind everyone else off the gate, so he didn't get the most amazing start at all. And I think Marco's probably just inside or around the top 5 or so. We'll see when we go over the line this time round for the end of the first full lap. So there we go, end of lap quote unquote 2, but properly 1. We were only less than a second in front of EvanHorton. And I don't know if it's big-headed to say, but I feel like my speed itself is slightly better than EvanHorton's. However, I do believe he's usually more consistent. So with that in the back of my mind, and knowing that Daytona is probably one of my least played Supercross tracks, I knew that it would be very hard for me just to really quickly pull away from him. So I kind of went with the mentality of, if I can be half a second, a lap or so slower than I know I can be going like full push and just not crash, I should be able to, if all goes smoothly, win the race. By the end of this race I was very happy with how I rode overall. Like, I actually think the performance and the consistency might have been one of my best races ever. I was so happy when I got to the end of this. But even after all that hard work, you'll see it's a very close finish at the end as well. So you can see what have we got. So we've got about a second on EvanHorton back there. I believe Hemi might have made a mistake during this lap, just looking down at the map, he dropped back a little bit. However, Hemi is one of those people that really comes on strong towards the end of the race, so that is always something that I bear in mind if he's lurking around the top 5, top 3. So again, that's saying in the back of my mind, let's try and get a bit more of a gap going, give myself as much of a cushion as possible, and at the same time just get a flow going and get a feel from the track, because a lot of the time with these races, I completely zone out. Like, I don't think too much about what it is I'm actually doing. Obviously I take notice of what's happening around me as far as where people are on the track, especially when you come up to lappers and things like that, you have to kind of plan what you're going to do a bit more. But when it's like this and I've just got a clear track in front of me, I just completely zone out, and it's almost just like muscle memory. I just play the game and I don't think about it too much. It's only when I can really do these breakdowns after the race that I can give you kind of what I'm doing naturally, so to speak, not so much what I'm thinking at the time. So we are, oh god, it's already like 5 minutes through in the racing. One thing I find actually, when you're leading these races, they go so much slower than when you're not. I know it's a pressure thing. You see here exactly the same again. I cased that second double in, which is the hardest jump in that rhythm section. It's a very weird one to get right because the jump faces are so steep. It's very hard to downside them nicely to be able to then get the next triple. But easier on a 450 if you make a little mistake, you can kind of power out of it, but at 250 you have to get them pretty spot on. I feel like those were my only 2 times, I want to say, that I cased it in this race. I feel like I get the line and the flow down a bit better for the rest of the race. But so you see at the bottom left, EvanHorton still right on my arse. doesn't let me breathe, which is exactly the same as the last round at the was it one of the, I think it was the Atlanta track. F-Move was actually just right there the entire race. He only just dropped off right towards the very end after a mistake. So fair play to him. I know he's been putting in a good amount of time recently, and it's really shown in his results and in his racing. Kind of came out of nowhere, really surprised a lot of people, a bit of an underdog, so it's pretty cool to see. He's in second place in the championship at the moment, just behind Hemi. So I think we've got like 5 or so rounds to go. I think it's like less than 10 points, I want to say. Very close championship there. I myself, I think I'm about 55 to 58-ish points behind. My issue is, even though I'm getting a lot of wins, I missed the first 4 rounds, so it's such a huge points deficit to bring back. So even though I do like winning, obviously there's no real chance of me getting the championship, because to expect the top 3 guys, so Hemi, Evmove and Marco, to drop like 50-60 points, like all 3 of them to drop that many points, for me to take over the ball within 5 rounds is just, it would take a miracle. But you know, I'll keep trying to do what I'm doing week in, week out, try and get the best points as possible. One thing that I feel like has been helping me is, so I make all these videos for you guys, and I do this weird stuff, and I stream. I don't actually get a whole lot of time to sit down and play just Supercross. So obviously when I'm streaming for you guys, it's mostly Nationals tracks and fun things. I know Supercross is quite a quite difficult thing in this game. And when I do videos as well, I very rarely do Supercross and videos as well. So, but I feel like that kind of helps me, because I know that my actual like raw 1 lap speed probably isn't as good as other people's is. So I kind of mentally dial it down a bit during the race, which I think helps with the consistency. It's a very weird thing for me, because coming from like MX Simulator, for example, where I'm going to sound really big-headed, I knew 9 times out of 10 I was the fastest person on that track, and I could pass anybody at any point. I don't have that in this game, because I don't feel like I am the fastest, so I have to approach it in a much different way. And hopefully, I mean, even if you do the AMS races, or if you're maybe further towards the back in the pros, or for any series that you do really, I feel like if you are willing to sacrifice that half a second to a second a lap for the sake of being more consistent and not crashing, you should definitely do so. Because in this game at least, a crash can cost you anywhere between like 2 and 10 plus seconds. So it depends how lucky you get with the crash. Oh, very close moment there. I think that was the closest to a crash that I had this entire race. The outside berm there was a little bit sketchy when it gets rough, but it was one of them situations where in practice and qualifying, it was the only line that I took, so I was quite scared to divert and take a different line and risk actually going down, because I wasn't used to how the track was. So that was one of them corners that I had to physically say, right, chill out a little bit, don't try and just rally every single lap, because you're going to end up crashing, which I did a lot in qualifying when I was trying to put a heater together. So I was very glad that that was like the worst mistake, so to speak, of the race there. Obviously, F-Move still 3 seconds behind. Like, we're almost 10 minutes into this race, and to only have 3 seconds and then 7 seconds back to Hemi after that is just ridiculous. I went a little bit high in that berm there, and I knew that I wasn't going to make it onto the tabletop like the normal fast line, so again I didn't even risk it. Just another part of just trying to be smart rather than going for broke everywhere. But even when I was making that line normally, stepping onto the table, the really fast line, as I say, thank you to a lap there, thank you for whoever that was, I missed it out, called me eye. The actual fast line is getting your front wheel just over the tabletop before that whoop section, so then you can get the double afterwards nice and clean. But I don't know if it's a setup thing or if I just wasn't hitting the corner very well, but I was always coming up that little bit short, so I was bouncing a little bit more than I needed to before the whoop, so that was definitely one part of the track where people were gaining time on me. You can see this. That mistake itself and a couple other things this lap, I'm 2.6 seconds down off my fast lap of the race. So it's, whilst they are small mistakes, if you was to do those mistakes every lap, it really does add up. So it's so important to try and be as consistent as possible, especially in Supercross where it's shorter races. I mean, anything can happen. Let's say that I make that 2.5 second mistake, but ride the rest of the race perfect, but I get unlucky with a lapper, for example, and the lapper takes me down and I lose by a second. I could have won that race if I didn't make that 2.5 second mistake earlier in the race. So it's always about how do I put this? It's like it's weighing up what is best for you at the time. And what was best for me in this race was trying to be as chilled out as possible. Just see it home. Obviously, like I can see F-Move's gaining on me, Hemi's gaining on me, but in the back of my head, I'm still thinking they are having to push hard to try and not keep up, but to try and just keep me in check. And I know from my experience, if someone I know is very consistent is in front of me, I know I have to push a little bit faster to try and catch up and overtake them. Usually that ends up in a mistake, so it goes to speak volumes really of how important good starts are on this. It's something that I pride myself in. I feel like I've got very good start technique on the game. I would suggest if you are maybe a bit lackluster in that department, just go into testing. You know, go on different couple tracks, because obviously there's different traction types, and some tracks have like the metal gates which have different traction as well. Just go into testing, set a marker on a starting gate, and just spend maybe 10-20 minutes just working out the right amount to lean forwards and back. Or a little mistake there as well, going into this whoop slowed me down a lot. Can't remember who was that on my left. Was it Moto Control? I'm not 100% sure. We've got Sync on my right there, who's always a very good lapper. Always checks around and lets you past. So thank you to both of you for being nice lappers there. Very hard to lift my arm up around that corner if it's bound to my L1 button on my controller, so it's a bit of a reach when I'm not pressing those buttons at all. Got Ethan here as well. Ethan let me past, which again, very much appreciated. One thing that I commented on to a few of the guys actually after this race in Discord was how few lappers we got into during this whole race. I feel like it's the least amount of people that have been lapped, and it's not like it's a super long track like the Atlanta tracks, but I feel like it's probably one of them tracks where if you're just riding laps and taking normal lines, you don't lose that much time to the leaders. Oh, pardon me, burping again. Very professional. I might have to edit those out. Who knows? We'll see how much effort I put in. Very hard track to lose lots of time to leaders if you're just hitting your marks and taking consistent lines, because there's not lots and lots of big sections on this track. The only ones I can think of is step onto this table here, which I feel like 90% of people were doing anyway. And then the last straight before the finish line, hitting that triple, that was the key. That's the part that makes or breaks a lap. And how much speed you can get over this wall as well. Some of the lunatics were sending the wall. There's a line where you can almost like double over the wall and carry so much more speed and gain like 2 seconds, but I'm not that skilled at the game. I just do what I can. I just try and hit the consistent lines as fast as possible. I just looked down at the map now actually. I believe this was a point where Evermove made a mistake or two and started getting caught up in a battle with Ryder, who's just moved up into P3, so very good result for Ryder, well done there. And this is where Hemi is now into P2, so he's just come up to a couple lappers here, but once we get past those, it is clear track for Hemi, clear track for me, and then it just becomes a case of who can hold it together the most coming up to the finish. I know that Hemi's faster than me around here. I'm not even going to try and persuade myself otherwise, so I won't lie, I was obviously getting a little bit worried when I saw he'd moved up into P2, but when I looked down there and across the line, I saw he must have made a tiny mistake or put together a lapper and he was 11 seconds down. I'm like, right, 2 minutes left, plus a lap, so that's roughly about 3 laps left. I think I've got this in the bag. As long as I just do my race, there's no way I can lose about 4 seconds a lap on average, especially as my bad laps this race have been about 109s, and which is, well, it's about the speed that some people qualified at, so you can't be too unhappy with that. You see at the top left there, it's bugging out a little bit, saying that I'm down, but that's just because of that over-under bridge. MX Bikes doesn't like that as far as timing gates go. You see, as soon as I go back over that bridge, it'll come straight back down. There you go, down to 1 second now rather than 11. A very odd thing. I always get a bit confused when it's in qualifying and I can see I'm like 10 seconds down. Oh, what do you mean? I'm on a flyer. What do you mean I'm 10 seconds down? You know how we love MX Bikes and it's worked. There you go, another successful run through that rim section, triple all the way through. What else we got going on here? Got a minute left, so yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, oh, 2 laps to go, should be no problem. But you'll see at the end of this lap how close it is for missing the cut-off of the timer. So I'm looking ahead as well here at this point, see, oh, I've got a good gap to the laps in front of me, so I'm still going to have the clear track for a while unless they royally start making loads of mistakes, which is always a possibility, you know, when they're all together. It can always happen. I can keep an eye on the left side of the track there as I'm coming back round and seeing where Hemi is in relation to me. And he didn't even gain a second on me in that last lap, which I was very happy with. I think it starts getting very close towards the end. I feel like in the last like 5 laps or so every race he always turns on the burners, and thank you. I'm going to be really sorry that I didn't notice the name there, the number 606. Having the common sense to just sit on that berm and wait for the leaders to go past is such a big brain play. Like, people that obviously aren't as experienced in actual races could have just pulled out there and completely ruined my race. So I'm very thankful for 606 for just holding up for that at 1 second longer, and I'm sorry if it cost you a position or anything, but obviously it made the world of difference to me. If I would have crashed there, it would have been probably a completely different result. So you see, across the line there, just got over the line before that timer expired. So now I do have like another 2 laps, which is a bit of a pain. I would have loved this to be the last one. It would have meant less pressure. But Hemi is, what's that, 10.2 down behind. So here I am again thinking to myself, 5 seconds a lap, easy. There's no way I should be able to choke this unless something goes horrifically wrong. So even if I need to, I'm willing to just double my way around the track towards the finish. It's something that it's more of a mental thing. I know at this point what I need to do to get the result, if that makes sense. There's just no need to absolutely send it. I think as who was it that I was watching? I think it's a Ryan Hughes DVD, like a technique we go from years and years ago. He was just comparing 2 lines in a corner, and he was like, I'd much rather go in with the trophy than spraying loads of dust around the turn because it looks cool. So that's kind of what I base this off of. I'd rather get the win and bring it home than try and go for broke and end up maybe 2nd or 3rd because I've just been silly and ruined it at the end. So cross the line for the last lap. That was a 1:10 that lap. I believe that's probably my worst lap of the race. Which is weird because it didn't feel like a terrible lap. I'm guessing just the road and things like that coming into account. Obviously you can't rail the corners as fast, which means you can't go as low in the jumps and so on and so forth. It all just compiles up throughout the lap. But yeah, 1:10. There's my worst lap. I'm not unhappy with that at all in the slightest. Very happy, especially as going into the night. I was a little bit worried actually. I thought this would probably be one of my worst races. I looked down. Hemi gained about 2 seconds on me that lap. So again, same as last lap thing. 8 seconds. If I blow this, I didn't deserve to win in the first place. So nice and steady, nothing insane, just tootling my way around the track. I feel like I even take this next left-hander very, very carefully as well because it's the make or break section. There you go. Look how carefully I went around there. Nothing stylish. Not trying to scrub over this table or anything like that. Just gonna double, triple my way in, and if I can get the triple in this section, perfect. If not, I'll just double my way through. You see, it went fairly well. So I went triple, and one more jump. I think that was a Superman that I done there. I think I was just doing tricks. I was hoping Barber would catch me on stream, but he only just got me going over the finish line. But that will do it. Another win. Going very well. I think that makes it like 5 for the season so far out of 7 or 8 that I've done. So very, very happy with that. So Hemi was running me down at the end there, so he ran out of time, but means more good things for me. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you've enjoyed the breakdown, and until I see you in the next week's video, peace.
Got bad shit all up in my mind right now. Fuck it, give me a minute and I'ma let it all out. I don't give a shit about an opinion, be another dimension when I wake up. Bitch, it's time to fill the cup. Got no fucking love, I feel so stuck on my luck. Get fucked.